Robin, Morris and Barry. Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good morning.
Well, it's the first time, of course, that they've been on our screens for over a year, and they're in England to promote Staying Alive, which is a new film directed by Sylvester Stallone and starring John Travolta.
And it's hiding behind a cushion.
And it's hiding behind a cushion because I'm going to keep it. After their huge success with Saturday Night Fever, of course, the Bee Gees wrote the music for the sequel. So I'm looking forward to seeing it. I haven't seen it yet. But good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for coming in. It's very nice having you here.
Thank you for having us.
Actually, we were discussing before, you were saying that most pop stars nowadays make videos. You make feature films. I mean, that's really big, isn't it?
Oh, yes, not so.
You can take that one.
Yes, no, I wouldn't touch that with a barge pole.
Saturday Night Fever really re-established you, really firmly, didn't it?
Yes, sort of. I mean, we'd had about 2 or 3 really well-established albums before Saturday Night Fever came along. I mean, Main Course was really our comeback, which was produced by Arif Marden, and we went into Saturday Night Fever after that. But it was a very successful album before that.
Did you expect that sort of success?
Well, no.
I don't think anybody did, really. It was a sort of great marriage of music and movie. And it was John's first film. There was all those elements that made it sort of, you know, sort of very interesting for people to see. And it started off where the countries needed to dance. It just started something off that everybody wanted to do the same thing as he was doing.
Yeah, you seem to have anticipated a new feeling completely.
Well, it's sort of, I don't think anybody anticipated it. It's just something that they all thought, this is a nice film.
Phenomena are always an accident.
And it just happened.
You never plan them. Nobody was more surprised than the people who made the film.
People jump up in the aisles, don't they, in cinemas, or they were when it was first coming out.
Yes.
We weren't there at the time, but we had heard that, yes.
Yeah, so the trailers, they have been people getting very excited and things like that. It's a good film. It's a good film. Possibly when we go to see it, it's hard for us to be objective about it. But I think for people on the street, for people that like John Travolta, it's going to be
well, as you said, it's a mixture of just about. It's got just about every good ingredient you could think
of. Well, this is why the sequel is so important to have the Tony character go on 5 years on in his career, and he's making it into Broadway in this one. You know, so it's more of an adventure of his life 5 years on.
Are you scared of making sequels though? Because they often go wrong, don't they? They never quite get the same sort of mood.
We had thoughts when we were asked to do the music again. Should we do that, or should we just stay remembered for the first one? You know, but we wanted to carry on because it's part of the family thing. We all did the first one, so let's carry on with the second one. So it's the same people involved with the added bonus of having Sylvester direct.
This one's done very well. I mean, this is a very big success in America, and it's grossed nearly the same as Flashdance in a shorter period of time. Yes. I think where it's true, though, sequels do have problems, but I think it depends on the sequel and who's in it and what's the ingredients are. Grease 2, for instance, didn't do anything at all.
No.
And
well, it didn't have the original stars.
Didn't have the original stars, and again, you know, the original songwriters, which was, I think, John, from the Olivia Newton-John producer. He did the music for the original one, but didn't for the second, and they didn't have John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John, so the only thing that Grease 2 had in common with Grease 1 was the title. You see, nothing else, so that's really why that wasn't successful. So sequels are very dependent on a lot of things. Jaws 2, for instance, wasn't as big as Jaws 1 because the monster was a big papier-mâché dummy, which everyone realised wasn't fake. It didn't look real, so there was a lot of different things.
Is there something special about the team there? I mean, for instance, do you know John Travolta very well?
Yes, fairly well.
Do you have to know him? I mean, is it important to know the stars in your film if you're writing the music?
We hadn't seen him for quite some time. I mean, since Saturday Night Fever, a shorter time after that, and when he came to the studio with Sylvester in Miami a while ago to talk about the film, it was like we'd just seen each other the other day. He was just that type of person that you just say, oh hi, John, you know, it's just, we'd just seen each other. He's a very nice guy. Just, he's more in shape now. He looks unbelievable though. Yeah. He's rocky in leg warmers.
Well, I mean, it's not that you see all these people. You don't. I mean, for instance, we never saw any footage of the film at all when we wrote the music.
And Sylvester we only saw once.
Yeah. So, I mean, most of these projects, you really don't get to meet the people.
Were you aware when you were writing for Saturday Night Fever that you were creating a specific sound? And how long did it take for you to get the sound right?
We were aware we were creating a specific sound, but we didn't know, for instance, we didn't know what it was going to do. Nobody does. We discovered our falsetto sound, which we were really utilizing at that point. And once again, the music was not being written for the film. The film came later, and Robert Stigwood and his friends came to Heriville in France, where we were recording, it was a new album we were recording. And they said, could we have four or five original songs for this film?
Just like that?
And could we have those? Because they hadn't. So those songs were written before the movie was even.
How did you discover the falsetto sound?
It was during a session with Arif Marden for the Main Course album, which we mentioned previously. We were doing a song called Nights on Broadway, and Arif was looking for something exciting to go on the fade or some sort of a scream, and he said, can any of you scream in tune? And
took a while of thinking.
yes, a few broken pins later, we actually
We gave you a swift kick.
yes, and
Well, you must have been very worried about trying that sound because it's so different.
yes, and it can be looked upon as feminine as well. So we had to be very careful. But we felt confident because other groups, for instance, the Stylistics, who
At
had
that time.
Yeah.
enormous amount of success in this country with a falsetto sound, and nobody had thought that was feminine. Everyone seemed to enjoy the sound, so we just thought we would go for it.
And it's not just the falsetto sound, there's a sort of clippedness about it, if you know what I
Yes.
mean.
Yeah, yeah.
Sort of
Well, once
staccato.
again, yes, it's hard for us to really look at it that close. But you're right, yes.
It gives an exciting sound to the stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What about the orchestration? Who do you work with to try and achieve that?
Well, we do it ourselves, but we don't actually write it because we can't read all that
Also, I'll
music.
be gluten.
You can't read or write music?
It's
No.
true, we can't.
No, we can't.
I find that absolutely incredible.
So do we.
Because not only have you...
No, it's
not
just
only
that we
have you
never
got
had.
Not only have you got a distinctive sound, but, I mean, you write your own material. I find that incredible.
Oh, yes, we write all our own music, but we don't write like the semi-players and
paper.
things like that. We can't
Yeah.
write.
We have someone who, we think of a score which we put on a cassette to the backtrack of what
Yes.
song we're doing, and we
But
give it to that person
that's
to...
for arrangements.
So
Right?
do the
somebody else writes it down.
But
and-
we
for
play
instance-
we play our own instruments for backtracks and
In
things
a
like
recent court case, which we were very pleased
Unfairly.
to be present at,
Yes. We won't say anything about that.
it was within that court case and the people involved in that case, and from the justice point of view, it seemed like their opinion of writing a song was totally different than the actual rock
Is this
artist
the one
of
when you're
today.
accused of nicking the
Yeah.
tune?
That's
Yeah.
the
You got
one.
clear.
You should
I
imagine
did,
that.
so look, what
Yeah.
they said was, they said, we ask you, he says to the jury, we ask you, how can we put it to these people, Barry, Robin and Morris, my lord, we put it.
It's America.
That these people, yeah, that doesn't matter, I'm just giving an example, I'm saying as such.
Go
He said,
on.
these people, we ask you, 25 years writing music, you know, referring to us, we were very young when we started, of course, so 25 years, we were 5. So, yeah, 25 years, I thought I'd say that, you know, because, you know, 25 years, right, and they try to fool the court by saying that they've never read music and they've never written
that was the
music.
point,
That proves
Now,
they can't
can you
write
believe
songs.
that? And of course the jury, like, boo.
No, the point I was trying to make was the general opinion is, within these areas of public, like the courts or the people in the justice system, the opinion still remains that a song is written with a pen.
Yes.
And not in the mind. That
Yes.
you have to sit at a piano and write notes to write a song, and that is simply not the case. And the court and the jury just could not understand that you can write a song in your head, or in fact that people have been doing it for years.
Yes.
Well, in this sort of case like that, you should be judged by your peers. You should be
Yes.
judged by a Midwest jury who've never...
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, look, we're going to have to move on for the moment to competition time. But
This is very important. Could you help me, Barry, bring in this incredible...
yes, we've got lots of things to do, like draw out winners,
It's
draw out birthday
competition time!
Raffle time.
You're kidding.
I suppose this is what they call art.
Let's start off with our mystery face competition.
Found one.
Right.
Pull it out. The letter, I mean.
Absolutely no hurry.
That's the winner. That's the winner.
That's the winner, right? We need to draw five more out.
more.
Yeah, well,
But the winner, and are you ready for it? The winner of the portable colour television set this week is Christopher Todd from Tideman Close, Botsford, Scunthorpe, South Humberside. Christopher, you have won a television set. Many congratulations.
Right, we're going to read out the runners-up a bit later on in the programme.
Can you just pull out 5 for now?
Yes, it's bingo time. First, let's take the numbers for the sun.
It's from, there's a name here.
No,
Diane Terry, yes, 29 Tennyson Close, Boston, Links. Please would you wish happy birthday to Nicola Jane Rawson, who will be 6 on August the 25th, with lots of love from Nan and Grandad Rawson, Di and Terry.
Smashing. Morris.
Hugh Morris.
Okay, mine is from 12 Long Close, Chippenham, Wilts. It's please say happy birthday to Ben and Samantha Codwell on Thursday, 25th of August, who will both be 8. Thank you very much.
Barry.
That's from their
Okay,
mum,
yes,
by the way.
this is from Joanne Wilkinson, 1-year-old, 21 Fandale Avenue, Hull, North Humberside. And this person says, would you please wish my little girl Joanne happy birthday when you read the weather from 8 o'clock to 9, for she always goes to the screen to watch you at that time.
But you don't do the weather.
Thank you, 1-year-old.
But, there is a lady who's ready to read the weather at the
you're
other
no
end of the
lookalike.
studio.
Yeah.
Over to Winston.
Happy birthday.
Hello, is this something I don't know? Is he taking over the weather as well?
Rare among pop groups in that they've had 2 careers. Most of you will remember their hits of the 60s, like Massachusetts or I've Got to Get a Message to You. Well, we have some clips to remind you of what the Bee Gees used to sound like. It's lovely stuff, I tell you. That's terrific,
That's
actually.
disgusting.
Did you enjoy watching that?
Yeah,
It was sort of brought back a lot of memories.
That was
huh?
done in the days of romantic records.
Yeah.
You know,
What do you think about
now
your
it's hit him with your
appearances?
cup.
Well, you said what we sounded like, and what we looked like was another thing. When you look back, it's a little bit frightening.
I
I couldn't believe the hairy guy on the left was me.
Yes.
Yes, watch it.
It seems incredible, though, because after that you had your split, and life completely changed after the
Yeah.
split.
Well, we have 15 months apart from each other, which is not very long, really, in our life together.
No.
But it helped us grow up older, matured.
I was going to
you know, in our
say,
work
in
and
a
what we
way,
did.
did it help? I
Yes.
mean, did it do you some good?
Yes, it was really what happened to us happens to a lot of groups even today, and that is that fame came very fast, and we were in our very early 20s, and ego took over. And of course, when you're that age, you really have no idea what's going on. You're very green, and the management and everything else is really in control. And when you go, somebody else will take your place. It's very fast, and even today it's much faster. You know, it'll be a surprise to us if about 90% of the groups around today are sitting around in 10 years' time as the same group. You're not going to see that happen. It's a lot of
It
groups
would
now.
surprise me, actually, if
Yes.
in 10 years' time any of the groups around at all. Not many of them.
Yeah,
But
90% of them.
interest, who do you rate at the moment?
Well, yes, people like Stevie Wonder and
Yes.
Police are very good. I mean, you really can tell if you have a good ear what is going to be around. I mean, there are great artists. There are people like Ray Charles and.
I think also what will depend on groups staying together is not so much how talented they are, but their individual personalities and how they work
How
with
they
each other.
handle
That's
situations.
right. We're very fortunate. We're brothers, and
That's right.
you
Is
know,
that fortunate?
No, it's, well, we might.
We all help each other with our drug problems and so forth.
Do you think, you were saying that many groups split up, do you think you maybe would never have got back together again had you not been brothers?
It's very possible. The fact that we are brothers is really a sort
It
of
was
a
a
common
reason
bond.
to come together again, wasn't
Yes, even if it had been another year later after that, eventually we would have had to come together simply because we're a family.
And we needed the money.
I mean,
I think you've got three fans here because Nick was mentioning Massachusetts, which I also love. I don't know what Anne's is, but one of my favourites is How Deep Is Your Love? The harmonies are
thank
out
you.
of this world.
it? What are your earliest memories of the Bee Gees, Pete?
Well, I remember introducing them on Top of the Pops, and they were doing Massachusetts.
yes.
Yeah. Well, and I noticed too, you know, I never really realised it, but there's a tremendous amount of country feel in your music, isn't there?
Yes, we are.
We're influenced a bit by it then,
We do.
yeah.
We love country music
Yeah.
very much. We try not to have too much of it within our music,
quite.
but you'll hear the elements of it.
It's the wonderful thing about when you're being songwriters, you can write any kind of music.
We just did a
And
Kenny Rogers
We did Kenny
album.
Rogers.
We just
That's
did the
right,
new
yeah.
one that's not out in England yet, comes out in a few weeks, and is already on the charts in America with the first single, with Dolly Parton.
Which gave us a chance to do the stuff we love.
Martha Plan.
But it's not pure country, it's country and pop, so...
Yes.
Is that what this is here?
Is that the cover?
We haven't seen it yet. Do you mind if we have a look?
Oh, that's another one you can sign. Actually,
Yes, you
Pete,
can sign that for me, can't you?
Pete, you must have... The whole music world was
Signed
very
on for
sad
Anne,
when the
not
Bee
for
Gees
you.
sort of sank at the very beginning. You must have witnessed that.
Well, when they
Disappeared for a while.
Sunk without
yes.
trace for a while.
Yes, they did, and I thought it was very sad. And I'm glad they're back in a very big way because I think that they are the best. I don't think there's anything better than the
Can you
Bee
think
Gees.
of any other group that's actually sort of come back in such a big way and enjoyed
No.
that sort of success all over
I
again?
can't. Not that have been away and then come back again. Quite
Well, do you know what happens when something like this happens to people like us? We went right down to the bottom again. In between 1970 and 1975, we really could not get a hit record to save our lives. And we went right down to what you might call the wilderness, the pop wilderness. You're gone, you know?
Which is below nothing.
Which is below nothing. And what happens is all of the people that were hanging on your coattails and swinging around you when you were on top suddenly disappear. And you actually realise that those people weren't your friends, and they just go. You're gone. You're not famous
And
anymore.
when you get
We're
back
off.
again, the same people come out of the woodwork.
Oh, yes,
fantastic.
that's right. Nobody wants to know you when you're down and out. That's
We've
the old
actually
song.
had
yeah.
that education, you know, and the people that stuck with us, like our personal manager Richard Ashby and our touring manager and road manager Tom Kennedy, have both been with us from the very first time right through the down period until now. So that's the difference.
Now, can I add to your experience now? Because
you there?
How are you going to do this?
well, it's 8:45, you see, which is Lizzie time, and I think if you watch, you'll recognise again the Bee Gees are still with us. Actually, Pete Murray, who is still with us, actually.
Am I?
Who's also still
Nodding off a bit.
almost so far along the sofa I can't see you.
Oh, I can see you.
You were
actually.
saying
If
what
you're
was
tired, but you just lie down.
Yeah.
you were saying what was my favourite Bee Gees record?
Yes, I did.
I particularly, I mean, I've got lots of favourites, but I particularly like the Barbara Streisand album.
Oh, thank you.
Now, what's it like to work with her? I've always wanted to ask you that.
Well, actually, it's we've said this a lot, but it really is a pleasure to work with her. She's the stories that we had heard before we went into working with her were terrifying. I mean, that she's a lady that has tantrums, and to be absolutely honest, it never occurred. It never happened. There was never anything like a temper. The first thing she said to us was, "You must feel free to criticize me." And it would be nice if you
But
would
only once a month.
yeah, but only once.
Did you?
No. Well, of course, that's how you make an album. I mean, the producer has to say this isn't right or that isn't right. It's not a matter of criticism, but she did say, look, you know, she will be guided. She wants to make an album with somebody because it's different input, so she's got to hear that input. You've got to have that input.
She is. I found her, you know, a lot of people say she's very difficult, as you mentioned.
Yes.
And I found her when I've interviewed her twice.
Yes.
Or 3 times altogether, once on television, and I found her absolutely delightful.
She's really nice,
One thing that she won't stand is she respects people that she thinks know their job.
Yes.
And when I first interviewed, she started doing all these funny English accents, so I came back with her with Bronx, and she was okay after that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people that have said to us about the album that we made with her and that Barry produced is that she was very difficult to get on with.
Yeah.
And I think it just simply wasn't the case.
I think she's with people in the business. I think she has a great respect for people in the business. Her
opinion is that it's because she's not a man that she gets a lot of that kind of stuff thrown at her.
That's certainly true, yeah.
When a woman demands something, our favourite songs, oh God, we love all kinds of music.
First of all,
of your own.
Of your own.
We've got a very...
I remember Morris once telling me that he liked Burt Camford. Was that right, Morris?
Oh, yes, that was years ago, Peter.
Yeah, I know. Sorry about that.
It's not the German guy, Burt Camford.
Yeah, but
I think we have to agree with you, How Deep Is Your Love, and
that's
some of the songs like that. Because we know it ourselves, it's a good song. No matter who wrote it, we can feel that we did something right there, you know.
What's that one?
How Deep Is Your Love?
Yeah.
That's the one we stole.
Don't tell anyone.
I haven't given back yet.
What I was interested in, we were talking earlier about the fact that you've come back, you've re-established yourself in such a big way. But, I mean, last time you let success slip through the fingers, didn't you? Are you ever scared that it might happen again?
Well, I put it down to the fact that when that happened, we were still getting over very much our first success, that we were very green. We still weren't in touch with our own direction. And what had happened in that period was we all lived in England at the time, and I think we got too close to ourselves in England. We got too close to the English music scene. And I think we had to spread out. The English music scene had grown a little weary of the Bee Gees at that point because with the split up and things like that, and the bitching.
The English music scene is very fickle. It's surprisingly fickle.
Yes.
If you look at the American scene, it's totally different.
They seem to be more loyal to the
There's a loyalty to established artists.
Well,
They stay established
That's
longer.
what happened. You see, we made up our mind because we knew we couldn't survive in England at that time. We didn't have any money. We knew we had to start somewhere else. So we went to America where loyalty is better, and I think we actually survived today in England because of our originally going
but I mean,
to
that really
America.
isn't to say that English fans are not loyal. I mean,
no.
Some of the Bee Gees fans in England are very loyal. We shouldn't give that
but you're
assumption.
talking in terms of the hit parade, aren't you?
Yes,
that really is.
But on
what it's all
average,
about.
there's a great.
But I think you're so well established now, not only as performers but as songwriters, that I don't think you've got anything to worry
Do you
about.
still worry? Do you still worry when maybe a record doesn't...
Yes,
Everybody.
there
is nobody
worry all the time.
Anybody, right up to different facets of the business, like Andrew Lloyd Webber and people like that, they worry about
He's
it.
worried?
He's worried he's just got the Palace Theatre. He was worried last week when he couldn't get the Palace Theatre.
I think the secret, well, there is no secret, but I think that the thing is you can't stop doing what you're doing. If you stop and sit down, which we have done before, you find that everything else stops too. You have to keep making records, whether they sell or not. You have to keep doing what you're doing.
Quite a new thing that you've just been doing is actually bringing out a book, which is fascinating. I've just been leafing through this. Can you tell me a bit about it? Because it's a most unusual book.
This is our own warped opinion of our upbringing, of our lives, and everybody in the book, including our parents and ourselves, are portrayed as animals. Yeah. Now, this book is devised really with our input by a man called David English,
The well-known cricketer.
Well-known cricketer, and the guy that does the commercial on the Treeborn Mints, the station, you know.
Oh, that's it.
Well, he devised this book along with us, and the illustrator's name is Alec Brickster.
Here we are.
And you see, there's Robin as the red setter. Is there a red setter in there?
Yeah.
Red setter.
Yeah, that's supposed to be me.
Morris is the beaver, and myself as the lion.
Who's the guy with the glasses then?
The guy with the glasses, I think, is an unsavoury agent. Of which there were many.
Thousands of agents around the country just switched off.
It tells your story.
It's
our life story.
Break in the business. There's actually DJs in there, radio stations and everything, records in trash cans and everything.
A lot of people recognise themselves because they're portrayed very closely.
Satirical.
We could go on talking to you all morning. I'm afraid we are not allowed
do that.
to.
And anyway...
All right, we'll continue after the programme's finished, but I'm afraid we have to move on. It's been smashing having you. I can't tell you how
Thank you
smashing
for having
It's
us.
great fun being, and also seeing Pete again. It's been
It's
great.
also really interesting to get out of bed this early. It's sort of a new experience.
Can I just ask you a question? What time did you get up this morning?
3:30.
2:30.
2:30?
Did you get up?
What time
Do you both sleep in the same bed?
What a question. No, I can't get to sleep.
I see opposite ends. So you tickle
the feet are one end.
Get up.
We're hoping the company will give us a
We have
bed
to
each.
say goodbye to you, but right
you better
now...
now, yeah.
Yes, we better.
That's the end of both your reputations, I'll tell you that.
Honestly, I'm not red, it's the makeup.